Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning. Might be a morning where you are. We're live. I'm calling in from London today. My name's Al. I look after product marketing here. Hopefully, you've caught one of our sessions before. I'm joined by Luke, who is based today in Poznan. Used to be the copy, yes. And so, do you want to say hello in Polish? Actually, there, Luke.
Cześć.
So Luke's in our development office. We've got a big office in Poznan, which is I've had the pleasure of going. A little bit about today. This is just part 3 of a series. We've been talking about data storytelling. So Vizlib, we have products, and on top of our products, we have certain capabilities that really amplify data storytelling. So really pleased to see everyone today. We're going to do the mini masterclass, which is where we get Luke, our product expert, hand-on. Before we do, just a little tiny bit of housekeeping. It's interactive. As I always say, give Luke a hard time. We like to give him tough questions. So far, we haven't got to a question we've not been able to answer, but you never know, we might get that today. We are recording. I think you can see we are live as well. But really, as I said, it's around data storytelling. It's around how you can guide your audience, how you can provide actionable information and insight, and from a right within click. And at that point, Luke, do you want to? Should we just our topics? Yeah. What are actions? That'll be a good start. What are we actually going to cover? What are the Vizlib enhances actions? I think that what we mean is how does that enhance Vizlib? And then we'll go across to a practical description. We got 15 minutes. We don't keep these long. We'll go to questions. We'll stay for another 5 minutes if you ask us enough questions. Luke, at that point, I'm going to hand over to you.
Fantastic. So yes, demo time. So as always, this app will also be on our demo gallery for you guys to download and play around with. Here's the brief overview of what is in this app. So you've got your content. So we're going to go over what are Vizlib Actions. We've got a Gantt example. As you guys may know by now, I am the PM of both Gantt and Library. So always like to show off what we can do. But we've got other products in here, self-service being one of them. Learning resources, some links to you guys, also past webinars. Give it a go, no actions, and then actions in the example part. But let's begin with the Vizlib Actions. So what are they? If you may or may not know already, Click has actions. I think it's about 18 off the top of my head, and we have around 32. So we've expanded on what Click does, and in the good old-fashioned Vizlib way, we've provided more value to the extensions that we have within our product suite. So a lot of these actions can be found here. In fact, all these actions can be found here. You can link off to the community website. So just to make you guys make it a little bit easier to understand. For example, what is data reload? You can click on this. You can take you to the page for Vizlib Actions, and you can read on about it. But but you guys may have just realized that it's actually an action, which is open URL. We've also grouped them into app actions, export actions, external actions, which is only the API integration. You've got field actions, selection actions, sheet actions, and finally UI and UX actions. All these can be learned more about in the documentation. But for the purpose of this demonstration, this little snackable webinar, we'll be going over just a handful of them. Naturally, the Vizlib button, which is quite a heavily used product, actually has access to all of them, and other extensions have access to select amount because just the way it's been integrated. And for example, export object is a Vizlib button only action. There we are. Climber, so Climber products such as the custom report, that has its own set of specific actions, which are basically the exact same, but they're just called CL at the beginning and then action name. So if you guys are already using the custom report, you have access to both these actions and some custom report specific, but they do the exact same. So let's get on to the Gantt example. So as you guys may already know, or for the ones that have joined previously, I like to do left and right examples. So on the left, we have our Vizlib Gantt here, which is very simple. We have the story of this is that we're just showing off when World War II and World War era planes were manufactured and when they began start of service and end of service. So for example, we can see at the moment we are organizing them, or the dimension is by manufacturers. So we can see that AS I'm going to butcher this, Yakolev. There we are. They've produced quite a few over the years during around 1935 to 1955-ish. But that's great. Okay, that gives us enough information to sort of carry on with what we sort of it's one-dimensional. You can only go so far with this. On the right-hand side here, we see that we have the Vizlib Gantt once again, but this time it's ordered by country. In fact, we can actually see some Vizlib buttons up here. So we've got country, manufacturer, and role. So at the moment, we are filtering by country, but let's change it by manufacturer. So I'm clicking the button. I have a variable created, and my variable has now been set to change the dimension of my Vizlib Gantt. So therefore, I'm now filtering on a different level. And again, we can have a role, and you'll see down here, I have a little pop-up that displays. So that's kind of cool. Is that one whole action? No, it's not actually. It's a series of stackable actions. So if we go into the button items, I think my Siri is just activated for some reason. I don't know why. Yes, so there we are, got rid of it. So we can see here, I've got my button items. Let me scroll down to the action section, and we can actually start stacking things. So I've got my set variable. Okay, great. So I'm setting my variable for my Gantt group and the value, which is the table. You wrap it in the single quotes. Followed after that, I've got sleep, which is basically pause. So I'm pausing for half a second. And then I've got my prompt, which appears. So you saw that little rectangle down here. It just shown, very simple, count number of distinct aircrafts from the countries. So number of countries that have been applied. So if we were to press that button again, let's go out edit mode. We can see I'm setting my variable. It waits for half a second, and it provides me the pop-up, the success modal. Great. Okay. So we now know that we can stack. And what does that mean for us? So it means simply that we can not only limit ourselves to just one action, obviously we can now have multiple actions, which means that within the same button press, you can, for example, reload your data, fire off, open a new tab somewhere with a specific URL, for example, and do a mail to, I don't know. There's the options are quite limitless with that. There's so many different variations, and you can keep stacking them. So yeah. Let's go to learning resources. So you guys will hopefully find this quite handy. You've got the community website, how to kickstart your learning. There's I made a actions an actions how-to, like a Vizlib Byte, we call them. And then, as I said, links to previous webinars here. So in this give it a go sections, what are you actually going to do here? So on the left, we have book related stuff. So let's go through, and this is just an example, nothing updates necessarily, but we have a variety of different actions. So let's start clicking some things. So books matching the last, like the wild card shun. So we can see adult fiction, Christian fiction, historical fiction, stuff like that. Then we can click this one, which actually selects four chosen categories. We can click something here, which clears everything. We can do this, which selects everything. So let's click that one once again. And we've got an action here, which opens the Vizlib website. Very handy, I'm sure, for everyone. I can't seem to, there we are. So, just within a simple KPI, you can put this into a practical demonstration. You can put this into a practical way of within your company. So Okay, great. I now have I filtered through some examples, and now I want to allow my users to start acting on this data. What is it that they have started filtering down on? So let's pretend that this was a KPI for understanding how efficient our warehouse is, right? And we filter down, we understand, we've got some various charts being displayed, and the user who's filtered down through these different dimension levels, they can then click on this, and then it will take them to a specific chart, it'll take them to a specific page, it may even take them to actually email the warehouse manager, for example. But let's give it a go. Let's understand how we can actually create these templates. So again, with the aircraft name as my dimensions, I'm going to go in and view template just to make it a little bit easier. So I'm just going to select this, for example. So my value here is going to be, I've got a value of, hypothetically saying now, I've got a value of around, I don't know, I'm just going to say the value is 4.5%. Great. Okay. Whoops. That's it's not formatted the number. That's the reason. So I'm going to say 4.5% is my value, and then I'm going to say, okay, cool. This is now an icon. This is going to be this is increasing in its efficiency. I've got my bullet chart down here, which is telling me something else, and then I'm going to include a line chart. No, I'm going to include a bar chart, I think, which is going to tell me the trend over time. So for example, let's say aircraft, let's just say number of people riding this specific aircraft over time. Okay, cool. Filter through down my dimensions now. I'm going to click on this specific value because this is probably quite an interesting value to a lot of people. So I'm then going to go down to my actions area. I'm going to select it, and then I've got my various different things that I may want to action against. So for example, let's go and activate a specific sheet. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to then choose one of my sheets that I have within this specific app. I know for the button, for example, you can do it so it actually opens an app within your actual within your server. So that's obviously another way of the connectivity between different apps. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna link it to the for example, just the previous one. So okay, cool. I've now filtered down through all my different products. I'm going to select that. It's going to take me to something that's valuable regarding my chart, regarding the data that I've just filtered down on. You want to understand what actually 4.5% means? Great, click on it and understand further about the data that you filtered down on. You don't just have to. You're not just relying on one dimension or like one area. For example, within the KPI, you actually have a global action. So if someone clicks on the whole KPI instead of a specific part, like we saw over here, where I could click on different areas, you can apply a global action which will override other ones. And for example, we may want to apply a bookmark. We may want to create a bookmark, or we may want to open a specific URL. Why not? I'm going to open a URL. It's just going to be HTTPS. It's going to be www.google.com. Yeah, an offensive web address. So I'm going to click here now. It's going to take me to Google. As simple as. So, like I've shown you with the Vizlib example, this is obviously element specific. This whole bit, the global action that I just applied is is a visualization specific. So this is element specific. This is visualization specific. As we saw there, I just tried to click on the 4.5, and it is a global action. If you want to have these different layers, for example, if you want to have 4.5 and then be able to select something on the background, an easy way to do it is just have the layers. So you can have an empty layer, you can have an empty text layer, for example, and then let me delete this actually. There we are. So you can have an empty add layer. I'm going to add a simple text layer, and I'm going to have nothing in there. So just have that, and then you can apply the action to this specific to that empty state. So you have the illusion of a global action, but still being able to action on this 4.5% or this arrow or this bullet chart and so on, so on. So, cautious of time, let's move on to the Vizlib examples that I've created. So we have some book demo here, right? We have some book demo with various different authors, and if it was well rated, well received, what the genre of the book is, the book title, book cover, because it's always quite fun to see. And then we've got some basic information here, so the number of books within a certain category. So we can see default. This data set obviously didn't have an NA. And then we've got non-fiction, sequential art, and so on, so on, so on. So this is great. We can start filtering using the Vizlib filter up here, sort of button style, but I kind of liked it. So we're going to start clicking some things. Great. We've got books that were received, sort of the poor, but not very well. And then we've got 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, and so on. Okay, great. That's cool. We can start filtering down. We can even start clicking on some things. And right, I want to understand more about this Christian-related book, for example. Let's clear these filters. But you can see it's sort of a bit slow analytics that way. It's you can get to where you want, but it takes a variety of a few actions that are needed. For example, this table down here could be a bit cluttered, you may want to say. So let's go to a sheet with Vizlib Actions. How can we improve on that sheet without having to do much? So again, we've got the exact same thing, but up here is the Vizlib button, as proven by this right here. We've got button, and we've got several button items. And what's really cool about this is that you can start actioning on your data, as I said. So now we've just applied a filter for anything 2-star related. Okay, great. We already know how that works. But let's say we have some filters applied. I'm going to click on this. Okay, so I'm going to click on this, and then I'm just going to press clear. Okay, now I don't have to bother deselecting my different elements. Obviously, you can select that, but clear to a user is a lot more obvious than a little button up here. But okay, great. Now we want to drill down on some more information. So let's say, for example, this one, the history book. I'm going to click that. I'm going to OK it. Look at that. It takes me to a new page. So that was an action taking me to a page so I can learn more about this book. I've got my full book description here. I've got some other things. And you know what? Actually, I feel like I want to email this guy. So I'm going to email the author. I'm going to click this. I'm just going to open up my mail app, which I will bring onto the screen now. And that was done with a simple is a mail to. So if for those who may not know different HTML commands, if you are on a website and there's a email address, usually that's a mail to. So for example, here I've got someone at example.com. I don't want to put anyone's actual email out, but that is a pretend email that you can do. But this is done with, I don't want to save that. And this is done very simply with the option for, let me open it, with the activate URL. So you're not just limited by opening a web page, you're also allowed to action on your actual an email. So again, allowing you to have that better communication, not just within the app now. So for example, if you're trying to leave a comment, if you have that collaboration package, but you are now able to take that conversation even further. You can email the author, we allow you to have the FX, the effects. So if you have the table list of people's emails, bang it in here, put your mail to, and then that'll be a fairly simple integration between app and the user. At the end of the day, we want to reduce the amount of complexity that you guys have to do to not only create your app, not only create your charts, not only create your sheets, but also interact and have the best user experience possible. And with that, I think we have 5-ish minutes for conversation.
I was going to say, I was going to give you an action, actually, Luke, of starting to wrap up. Actually, Joachim actually came in with a compliment there. Who said Luke is explaining it so well he has no questions. So maybe an action for next time is we will not describe everything so well. We actually do have some really nice questions. Actually, I've got one from Matteo here. I'll take this one. Excellent and really useful page. We love compliments. That's always going to go to the top of the list of questions, and that's regarding the action sheet. The question was available on the VPP demo section. Now, I think that some people call, that's the thing with 3-letter acronyms, some people call a VPP a Vizlib partner portal. So our partners have resources. So they can run demos. Other people call the VPP the Vizlib product portal. So I tell you what, Matteo, I think it's the VPP or the partner portal. If not, DM me. I'm around, and we'll find out. Christian asks, Luke, why are you using sleep action?
Well, there we are. There's a portal login. Let's log in. So sleep is quite a nice one. There you can find under templates and then go to demo apps. Equally, you can do it on the Vizlib website itself. Why am I using the sleep action? Whoops. Why am I using the sleep action? Well, that's quite a simple one, because sometimes you don't want to have everything being displayed at once. You don't want millions of things going on. And for me, when I see, if I was to click on this, for example, this has an action here which selects, and then let's see what all the actions, something in here, dimension, I think it's under here somewhere. Okay, it's in here somewhere. I can't quite remember where at the moment. But yeah, so I have an action on this which opens up a few different things. So it selects, it acts, and then it takes you to a different sheet, right? That's 3 actions. And if everything happened at once, for the user, it wouldn't really make much sense what actually happened, because the way that, if we go back to the learning resource, and I think it's actually this page, wasn't it? If we go back to this page for a second, where I have, was it this one? No, this one. If I go back to here for a second, I click on this and everything happens at once. There's no delay between there's no delay between the different actions, so set variable, sleep, and prompt. If I remove the sleep, everything would happen quite quick. And it's almost a bit jarring for the user. This sleep action allows you to have a bit of control over user experience. So for example, some websites even implement this. So if you were to select something, it in terms of milliseconds, it sometimes allows a bit of time. So when you select something, it doesn't instantly happen. Sometimes there's, a hundredth of a millisecond, or tenth of a second. There we are, got there in the end. And that just allows you guys to have a bit more of a cleaner user experience.
I think
that's one reason for it.
I think that's a really nice answer. And I think when I first saw the kind of sleep, or the time, and also the time, it actually allows more guided analytics, because if all actions happening within straight away. The analogy I use is actually when you're creating a PowerPoint, actually you can have the fade come in. If you're presenting, you can have the fade come in during a certain amount of time, so you can make point 1 or 2. And the same thing that in part, we're talking about data storytelling. PowerPoint does that. We do that. So really good. Right, we don't have much time. We do like to keep these kind of vaguely on time. Luke, very quickly, do all products have actions? And if not, I'm going to ask the second bit. If not, how can I quickly find out which products or extensions have them?
Okay, I predicted this question, so I have it in my slide deck. Well, we can go here, right? The Vizlib capabilities. Let's make this. I think we can have it full screen now. So yeah, we've got the Vizlib capabilities on the website. Simply searching Vizlib capabilities will actually provide you with a list of everything from templates, actions, Vizlib property panel search, master item colors, viz tips, and so on, so on. This page is even my go-to. Sometimes I'm not actually sure what some products have, so I go here. I go here and learn a bit more.
So we have an internal system called tacos that we reward each other. Luke, you're not going to get any tacos, because actually that should have been an action within your workbook, not on your presentation. So you're losing tacos for that. And we're going to wrap up with a final one, by the way, guys. Do I have to choose between one action over another? Are there multiple actions? Can I layer them?
Well, I think that was discussed earlier on, wasn't it? So we have, for example, with the with this. The button, but let's just perhaps go to this one, for example, sure. So let's say that I want to have, so for this value, I want to, I don't know, where's my actions? So yeah, this blank space gone. And so for this, I want to have, I don't know, I want to have a selection in a field. So as short select possible, and then my other action could be sleep, because that's always quite a nice one to have. And then you may want to add another one. I think you get the point now. I won't go over the top, but yeah, hopefully that gets to it.
I think I'm just going to actually share again a second comment in from Joachim, who says, if you don't use the sleep function in actions, people won't believe how quick Vizlib is on top of the click, which I like. And I think at that point it's a good time to wrap up. And Joachim, if I could give you the tacos that I would have given to Luke, that certainly would have. Just a very quick one. This was part of a series. There was a question about I've got FOMO. I was here for part 1. I'm here for part 3. I missed part 2. So you can find that in the app and that we send out. You can find a link to it. You can search for it. Search Vizlib. And the part 2 was Viz Tips.
So Vizlib data storytelling. That's probably quite a
on that note, just a quick one. We are going to go. What we're going to do is we're going to take part 1, part 2, part 3, because we talked about capabilities. These capabilities layer on top of of our extensions. But what we're going to do is in the next one. I don't think it's going to be this year. I think we'll do it to make everyone a bit more cheery in January. We'll challenge Luke. What we're going to do is we'll build dashboards where we layer all 3 capabilities, and we've been talking about data storytelling. Then that's what we're going to do. So out to the audience, if anyone has any suggestions, if you've got a suggestion about a dashboard or usage or use case, let us know. We might even be able to help you build a dashboard that you'll be able to use internally. We'll, a little data app and progress your data storytelling. But for now, we've got a little bit over time than we normally do. Really appreciate everyone's time today, and wherever you are in the world, trust you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you all. Bye bye.